Bombshell testimony from military officers. They say UFOs are real and they are a threat to national security.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Creatures of the night, be prepared to witness the weird, unknown, and extraterrestrial. There's no need for roads where we're going. It's the Drunk Turkey Show.
Real life forms. Researchers at Harvard speculate that an unidentified technologically advanced population could be secretly living among humans on Earth.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man.
The Garden State might just be a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings.
To infinity and beyond!
Hey, greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Phil J. Fry, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show. Your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
Just like every other podcast. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drunk Turkey Show. I'm Daniel. Today it's just going to be me. Big Blue's out on special assignment, hanging out on the rainy streets of Austin, doing some investigating. So keep tuned for that one. But today what we're going to be talking about is this UFO subject that's been coming up here recently. Lou Elizondo, he is a former Pentagon official who wrote a book. You know, he's been in the news in the last few years talking about this program he was a part of and what they've uncovered and how he believes that there are non-human entities that are out there visiting Earth or from Earth. You know, depending on when you listen to him, it may have changed a little bit. But, you know, he's come out with this book. It's an tell-all book of what he has discovered. I believe it's called Imminent Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs. And there's some pretty interesting claims out of this book. And, you know, we'll bring up some titles and some of the claims, and then we'll discuss them and talk about them. But first, let's find out who is Luis Elizondo. Okay, let's look him up on the interweb real quick. All right. So this is his Wikipedia. He's a media personality and former U.S. Army counterintelligence special agent, former employee of the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence. So he is, somebody who had some high security clearance, somebody who would, being given this job, be informed. Now, I think a lot of the, what is the non-believers? They believe that this is a bunch of disinformation, that this is stuff that he is obviously affiliated with the government, that this is information that the government wants him to release, and it's some sort of manipulation of the information. And I think that there's a possibility that exists, so we need to make sure that we carry that in the back of our minds, so to speak, because that's very much could be true. All right, but let's look at some of these claims that are out there. So this first one, this one's from dailymail.com. It says that former head of security government UFO program reveals why he is certain Pentagon has materials crashed from non-human spacecraft. All right, so this says here, the former head of the secret government UFO program has spoken out in an interview with dailymail.com before revealing in a new book why he is certain the Pentagon is material from crashed non-human spacecraft. Elizondo, 52, helped run the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program called ATIP from 2009 to 2017, investigating UFOs that harass Navy warships and nuclear silos. It's interesting. You know, he brings up, he was also on Rogan, and he brought up a pretty excellent point, you know, when it comes to the, these UFOs. Are they here to help us, hurt us, whatever the case may be? There's been rumors and speculation of times when these UFOs have been over these nuclear places and have shut down nuclear warheads and things of that nature. I believe he spoke on Rogan and mentioned that there was one time where they turned on a nuclear warhead. So kind of maybe perhaps testing, their capabilities. But they didn't stop the United States when they dropped the bombs in Japan. And so he's not sure. And these aircraft aren't, helping one side or another or any of those things. They've been seen internationally, and he goes into discussing that they know this because they spy on other countries. So interesting stuff there. So this is the book, Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs, Intimate, Luis Elizondo. It's out already. I believe it's on Amazon. Go check that out. I'm going to pick up a copy of it. I want to see what it's all about. But let's go deeper into some of the things that he is claiming. All right. So where are they from? All right. Now, he came out on Rogan, kind of explained a little bit about where these aliens or non-humans could be coming from. And to me, it doesn't sound like he's convinced that they're otherworldly, maybe perhaps interdimensional. He came up with this one interesting theory. At least this is what I was taking from it. He was speaking on the size of yourself, a person, relative to the known universe is relative to the size of a single atom on your body. And like your atom is you, and the rest of the human body is the known universe. And he kind of almost made it seem like maybe perhaps on the smaller side of things, on the molecular side of things, that maybe perhaps there are intelligent beings. I mean, that's kind of what I was getting from him, where he's kind of saying, those type of things that maybe that he even brought up that there are parasites that live off of our bodies at the molecular level, and this, that, and the third. So it's an interesting concept to think that maybe perhaps something could evolve on some small atom or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know if that's where he's going with it, but it's interesting as far as the concept of how large, the universe is as well. And to think that we're the only, intelligent species out there, I think is a little bit arrogant and ignorant. Now, are they getting here? I don't know. So this is a quote that he said. He says, "I often tell people that they can be from outer space, inner space, frankly, the space between." Goes into saying we're discovering new life all the time. Is it really that implausible? We discovered 2 new species last week. I think the other, interpretation, or not an interpretation, but he goes on further in the Rogan podcast and talks about the possibility of maybe perhaps these things are, maybe from the water, or maybe a species that's been on this earth as long as we have, if not longer, and just hidden from us, I guess. I mean, especially if they're under the water, we haven't really searched the depths there, of underground under the water. So the oceans are vast and deep. Don't make it too complicated. I'm trying not to. Things of that nature. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Let's go to the next one. And so, for where they come from, some people thought that maybe perhaps they're from the future, right? Because I think that's also been another thing. If we look at the alien species, right? If we were to discuss what the common one is, the grays, they have 2 eyes similar to us, 4 appendages as far as arms and legs, bipedal, apparently can breathe oxygen, and have no problems being on Earth without some sort of apparatus that we're aware of. Maybe perhaps they have some sort of thin protected shield that we can't see or something. But they look like they would have, what you would expect of a species of something to come from this earth, a common ancestor, so to speak. And so Could it be an evolved us in the future? Maybe. But I mean, time travel and coming back in the past, what would be the purpose? I mean, I assume, we had the capabilities. If we had, time travel, maybe somebody would go back in time to see, a lot of things like the dinosaurs, maybe the biblical events, the resurrection of Jesus, the plagues there in Egypt, those type of things. Maybe perhaps that's why some of these folks in paintings paint what looks like objects in the sky, right? Maybe those are time travelers going back just to, witness what exactly happened and how it happened. But when it comes to time, I just think that, and Lou goes into it where he describes time as almost like a time and gravity and space as all being one thing, and that can be manipulated. In fact, he mentions the propulsion of these vehicles not being flying, so to speak. That's what he kind of goes into saying, that unidentified flying object isn't really the right thing because it's not really flying. There's no wings creating thrust or lift. There's no thrust or lift being created on the vehicle. So it's more like a manipulation of time and space, which is another reason why he said that there could be a situation where there's a lapse of time. If somebody gets close to one of these objects, because it's manipulating time and space around it, that time might be different for you than other folks, right? It might travel a little bit quicker. So, that was very interesting. That was something that I found to be very interesting that he had said. But, the whole future thing, it reminds me of like, all right, so if you have like a package of Kool-Aid, right, and you put that in the water and you start stirring it. Now you can stir it faster and it'll mix up, but you can't unstir it, right? So we know that if you move fast enough, you can, time will travel, or time will be different for you than those that aren't moving as fast. So if you're moving at close to the speed of light, and you were to go X amount of distance and come back, X amount of time would have been passed, right? So that whole relativity thing. And so I think it's probably more logical that if this was some sort of time travelers, I think it's more logical that it be an advanced civilization from our past, moving very quickly, and then maybe perhaps coming back during certain points in history to today, and it keeps showing up. That's why it keeps showing up in time. Those things kind of look what are they? Those reptilians? Some people talk about these reptilian aliens. Maybe that's what they are. The dinosaurs were on this earth. What was it? Longer than the time that the dinosaurs were extinct and now, right? So for multiple millions and millions of years, maybe they evolved too. If evolution is a thing, and dinosaurs and reptiles were on this planet for hundreds of millions of years, is it possible that one of them evolved to a advanced species, came bipedal, more domesticated? So, maybe perhaps they don't need the predatorial, features, right? And when you look at and the alien gray, or even the reptilians, when you look at them, they have two eyes, right, facing this way. That's a feature of a predator. That's not a feature of not a predator. I don't know the word for it, but yeah. So just kind of throwing that out there, that's an evolutionary feature of a predator, to see where you're going and see what your target is and see what your prey is. So maybe perhaps, I don't know, but where they come from is interesting. I mean, they would have had to have found us if they are from somewhere else, in the cosmos. Let's be honest, we put out a lot of radio frequency. Maybe there's something sensitive enough to pick up those radio frequencies from our televisions and our AFM, FM radios, and all those other things that we've been utilizing for communication for the past 100 and so years. And then let's just say that this is an alien species from another planet. You know, they're going to be quite more advanced than us. You know, we've only been on this planet for a little bit, right? A blink of an eye compared to, well, if you look at the dinosaurs, for instance, like I mentioned before, they ruled the earth for hundreds of millions of years. Human beings have been on the earth for like a quarter of a million years. So it's like, what, 250,000 years, something like that. So yeah, where they come from. Interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. And this was the topic. Aliens might be future humans. Now, if they were future humans, don't you think they would know if there was a crash or if there was an issue? Because there would be history of it, wouldn't there? Unless it's a completely new timeline, which if that ends up being the case, the paradox there, I mean, would be huge. That world wouldn't exist anymore if a species from the future went back in time and crashed. Now, unless that happened in every timeline, right, that they go back to kind of see what's up and end up crashing. If that was like the first time it happened, and then then that, once that's picked up, that technology is picked up, then I mean, that species or human beings at that point would, you know, become extremely technologically advanced, because they're going to be able to maybe not understand everything at first, but slowly yet surely kind of look at whatever it was that crashed and create their technology off of it. So by the time you get to those X amount of years it would have taken in the future to get there technologically the natural way, without having material from the future to dissect and create, you wouldn't be there. It would be, I mean, who knows what could have happened? You know what I'm saying? I mean, as a species, we're a baby, if you think about it. And if, you know, technology, when it comes to technological advancement, I mean, we've been, what, maybe 100 years with, you know, cars and steamboats and things, maybe a little bit longer than that. You know, species that have had, I mean, if we got something that put us, you know, 200 years in the future, I mean, could you imagine the technology just then in a blink of an eye, much less a species that maybe perhaps have been thriving as long as, who knows, 1,000 years. So interesting things to think about. I wonder, you know, could you imagine all the stuff that they would know and how the universe may work and all their discoveries? It'd be crazy. Now let's see what this one is. Oh, that's the same thing, the future stuff. Now, Lou talks about Area 51. I mean, not Area 51, Roswell, and that being an actual situation or an incident, apparently. He talks about there being UFO crashes. He also talks about a project called Project Interloop, what was it? Let me figure it out. Interlooper. There we go. Project Interlooper, where basically the Navy, and they were trying to get the Navy to create these traps, so to speak, for UFOs, because they were attracted to certain things like nuclear devices and such. And so, interesting topic. What? That's crazy. Y'all be nice. So interesting stuff. I mean, I don't know if I buy everything that's here. I was kind of the guy that was like, you know, I believed in aliens until the government said that UFOs exist. Now, the Pentagon has responded and said that there's no evidence of any of the stuff that Lewis basically said. There's no evidence of aliens or any of those type of things, which makes me wonder, right? Like, why go through the efforts of having like SETI and spending millions of dollars on SETI, which is the search for intelligence, utilizing radio, like telescopes and stuff like that, or even like, you know, to try to figure or find life on Mars, right? You know, at the microscopic level. You know, I don't know. Why spend so much time and effort on those things if you're aware of the actual reality of intelligent life out there? So I don't know. I mean, it'd be an expensive project just to put out there to trick everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a baby. Let's see. Master. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Good old Lou has a book out now. He could be, Jason Truth UFO says that Lou Elizondo is full of it. He could be. I mean, he could definitely be a, putting out misinformation out there at the request of the government. I mean, a lot of this stuff is pretty crazy, and like he seems to know a lot more than what he's saying, if any of this is true. But why the back and forth? You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's this? He writes at least 3 other incidents where non-human cadavers were recovered from supposed Air Force crashes, including one in December 1950 in Ciudad Acuña, Mexico, across the Rio Grande from Del Rio, Texas, and 4 in 1989 in Kazakhstan in the former Soviet Union. All right, so I don't remember who the lady was, but she apparently had she was like a journalist of some sort, and she had some sort of insider. And she had mentioned that during the Cold War, or during all these wars that they've had or whatnot, that basically Russia and some other countries were trying to prank the United States by doing some pretty crazy things. Maybe not, I shouldn't use the word prank, but like trick, crashing discs into the ground with experiments that they have done on some human beings, and that some of these experiments were very cruel, made them look deformed, things of that nature. And basically, I don't know. I mean, see what the response of the United States military was. I can't remember her name for the life of me. But she was some kind of journalist, and she was explaining that, and she was explaining that the person that was telling her this was like, yeah, there's some pretty bad stuff that was done back then. I don't know. We'll see. Anybody have any questions or anything? This one's probably not going to be a longer show. Just kind of want to make sure, kind of go over some of these hot topics. We spend the money in the name of discovery. Yeah, true. Elizondo is literally CIA and is put out for pathetic CIA disclosure. We the public deserve a better way. That brings the question, like, why wouldn't, our military or our government come out and tell us the truth about this situation? Why keep it a secret? Now, I think Elizondo talks about this in a couple of his podcasts, mentions the fact that, especially like during the Cold War, and when a lot of these things were going back and forth, you really didn't want to let your enemy know that you have, crafts that are coming in and out, and what you do know about them and what you don't know about them. And it perhaps could, show some weaknesses here or there or something. And I totally understand that aspect of it. The other thing is let's just say that they found something that does create, free energy. Let's just, it's completely speculating here. One of Tesla's old ideas, maybe some alien space team or whatever, aliens somewhere else, had a similar idea and they perfected it or whatever. Like, is it possible that somebody could weaponize that? And if so, what could be the ramifications of such a weapon? I think you have to take that into consideration when it comes to these things, which is why I think like we don't have that many nuclear type of power stuff, because of, if that thing goes crazy, it's not going to be good. Let's see, things of that nature. Yeah, it's been coming out a lot today. I'll be honest there. Dark journalist myself and others have fully exposed his lies. Huh. Interesting. I mean, I don't know. What if he's not lying? Angel D goes, what's the meaning of life? I don't know. I mean, it depends on where we came from, right? I mean, there's a lot of theories, and there's religions that explain it, a lot of different civilizations that explain it differently. Which one's true, which one's real. If you go and look at Sumerian text, they talk about, and this is a civilization from like 6,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago, talk about sky people basically manipulating humans on Earth. And they were supposed to be like some sort of slave race because they were mining for gold. I think the theory was that the alien visitors, their home planet was had an atmospheric problem, so they needed the gold to be placed into the atmosphere. It's kind of crazy story for a 6,000-year-old civilization. I don't know if it's true or not. I can't read it, so take it for what it is. But if you think about it, human beings have this natural curiosity for gold. There's no purpose for it. It's not, I guess it's kind of conductive when it comes to, or the most conductive when it comes to electricity. However, gold has been something that human beings have seen for a long period of time as something of value before electricity and those components were usable for that. So, with that being said, is it possible that was bred into, human beings? The other thing is, serve. Majority of civilizations have always served a god or a higher being wherever you look. And even when it comes to like some of these tribes that are have never been touched by civilization, I don't remember the name of it, but there was somebody landed a plane somewhere on some island where there was a tribe that never seen people, like civilized people. They ended up building a plane out of bamboo or something of that nature, and they worshipped it because they thought that was a god, because they'd never seen something flying in the sky like that. And so I don't know, who knows? Maybe we'll find out one day. Let's see. Anybody got any questions or comments? Put a couple of stars there. I'll be able to see that a little bit easier. Adam Ford says, someday we'll have to talk about the Boeing conspiracy again and whether it played into the spacecraft stuck at the International Space Station. I didn't even know about the spacecraft stuck at the International Space Station. Got to look into that. We can definitely look back into it and talk about it. Orson Welles' War of the Worlds is why they have slowly released things. People freaked out listening to that on the radio. I agree, but I mean, how long ago was that? And, I think that when the Pentagon came out in 2017 or whenever it was and released that there are UAPs and UFOs, and nobody really cared anymore, kind of, I mean, there's, even with this out there, I mean, there's a lot of news going on. There's a lot of people looking into it, but it's not on every channel. It's not the doomsday thing that it was back in the day. I'm sure maybe if there is something coming in the horizon, maybe people will act differently. But if they've been here, this whole time, should we still be scared? I don't know. Why are humans so attached to gold? No idea. Maybe that was something, like I said, that was bred in, if this was some sort of slave race, or we were some sort of slave race and we were designed to mine for gold and those things, and to serve and do all those things, it would make sense, right? That's why we look at gold and as humans, it's crazy. It's weird. It goes all the way back in time. I mean, back in time, as long as you can think of it. I mean, its treasure has always been gold. So. Yes, sir. We'll work something out, my man. We'll work something out. I'm not scared. I'm not scared either. Let us know. I'd rather know and be, somewhat prepared for what's about to happen than be blissfully ignorant until the moment where something bad happens. But then again, I mean, it's like the thing I told Big Blue, right? I mean, I was like, hey, Blue, if we found out that we were some kind of like agricultural thing, right? Like a cow, You know, cows on the farms don't know that they're being raised to be food, right? You know, to them, they got it easy. You know, they live a full life. You know, they don't have to look for food or any of those things. And then one day it's time to go. Now, if that cow lived out there in the wilderness on its own, you know, it probably wouldn't have, you know, the same lifestyle that it had growing up. It probably also wouldn't have had, it probably still would have had the same outcome, somebody else's meal at one point or another, right? And it probably wouldn't even have potentially have survived as long. You know what I'm saying? And so the question is, found out something like that with us, but we're the cow, you know, that'd be scary. Know what I mean? Exactly, rather see it coming. 100%. Judge says gold and silver is the most antiseptic material on the planet, if I am right. Yeah. Poodle comes in with an interesting thought. It says, I tend to lean towards the spiritual side of it. Yes, it's there, but it's evil. The word said that the fallen angel, Lucifer, given his rule world and all the following angels he brought along with him. Yeah, that would be I mean, you got kind of like the chariots of the gods, right? When they describe certain things that they're seeing, they would describe those things in the manner that they could, right? With what they had at the time. Like, I think there was a description of a wheel on fire or something to that nature, flying from the air, which sounds like a disc. But could it be religious? You know, I think that Lou Elizondo had mentioned one time that he was told by another official that the UFO phenomenon was demonic. Is that possible? I mean, I guess. I mean, if I guess it is possible. I mean, you'd have to, if you believe in good, there's got to be evil. You know, there's this one thing that we were going to talk about. It was actually going to be the show, which I might, you know, I ended up, you know, putting it on the bookshelf maybe till next week, was the Shroud of Turin. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with the Shroud of Turin, it is a like a piece of cloth that supposedly or allegedly was used to wrap Jesus Christ's body after the resurrection, and there's an imprint of a body on the shroud, and there's a bloody imprint, but there's also this other imprint on the shroud where it is described as could only have been put on there with a significant amount of light being applied from the body, I guess. And this shroud was discovered in the 14th century, so in 1400s. And one, I mean, you know, where did this light thing come from if it was from the 1400s? Because I think initially they did some carbon dating on it, came back to the 1400s, but here recently there's been some more tests done on it. I guess come to find out that it was encased in some sort of cabinet and in the 1400s when it was discovered, and that pieces of that cabinet had like deteriorated and fallen on the shroud or whatever, and that's what tested to the 1400. There's this new testing that they were able to do, and it came back about 2,000 years ago. So right around the time that, you know, Jesus was alive, there was some pollen that was embedded into it that only occurred during the March springtime. So it's accurate within the time frame. And the blood marks, which are actual blood, it's AB. I think they said it was either AB positive or AB negative. Shows severe torture and trauma from the front and back, and the thorns on the forehead, on the palms, or in the palms on the wrist, I mean, where the markings from, you know, the stakes going through his arms and feet. And it's pretty crazy to now know that thing is legit. I mean, it's from 2,000 years ago, or a little bit over 2,000 years ago. And I mean, take it for what it is. We're going to probably talk and delve more into it, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that. Let's see what you guys are saying. But yeah, according to Elizondo, on I think it was on the Theories of Everything podcast, he had mentioned that somebody in the Pentagon had told him pretty much stop investigating UFOs, that they're demonic. And then I think it was Professor Simon, who is he's from the UK, I believe, and he was talking about that the SETI program basically discovered aliens a long time ago. And not only have they discovered advanced life somewhere else, they've intercepted their signal, whatever that means, right? So, for instance, from what I understand, what America was doing was something to the effect, like, remember when they had that SETI on your laptop where you can listen and look for alien signals or whatever the case may be? Well, that wasn't just here in the United States, that was worldwide. Apparently what they did in the UK and other places was, instead of looking for those radio signals, they decided to look for pulses. They felt that if something were to be coming out, it wouldn't be, I guess, always transmitting. It would come in waves. And by doing so, I think he said that they've been able to establish like 18 different planets with intelligent life. And so he said in this podcast that he had that the reason why it's not being, looked into it more is because of some religious beliefs within the government of the United States of America. And so it comes up quite a bit, this whole religious stuff when it comes to, the UFO and alien phenomena. It's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, check it out, man. You know what? let me pull this up. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Because I don't want to be wrong. And I'm probably wrong on the guy. His name, I want to say is Professor Simon. I could be wrong on that. SETI. Professor Simon Holland. If you go over there, tell him the Drunk Turkey Show sent you, and tell him to come and be a guest on my podcast. Quit being a jerk. He's 124,000 subs. I asked him in his comment section if he ever does any interviews. He's like, not typically. And I was like, oh, all right, fine. But just because he doesn't want to come on the podcast, I'm not going to be like, oh, he's a bad guy. But go check him out. He has a bunch of stuff about the alien stuff. I mean, he's done a lot of different things. But here recently, he's been really focusing in on UFOs and UAPs. And there's one in particular referencing SETI. It's called SETI Found ET. And it's a complete like four series episodes, I believe. And so he goes into it, talks about how he knows, what he knows. It's real interesting. It sounds like at least one... what I took from it, it almost sounded like at least one of these civilizations was very similar to ours as far as technology could go. As far as technology-wise, maybe a few decades behind us. Maybe not as advanced, given what they've been able to, I guess, grab from them. I don't know. It's weird. It's what it kind of sounded like. I would have kind of like aliens from the 50s, which would be crazy if that were ever true. Nice. Yeah, me too. When I start to think about, aliens, UFOs, and possibilities of all these things and traveling and traversing across time and space, those things interest me a lot. Maybe David Paulides watching abductions in the national park to be a guest. Jaime actually reached out to him, and what he told me was, this was Jaime's exact words: "Don't meet your heroes," because he was a big fan of David Paulides. So yeah, apparently it didn't go well. But this is when we were a lot smaller of a podcast, and maybe now he might jump on. I'm sure Jaime will jump back on for that one. He's doing well, guys. I know a lot of folks have asked about Jaime. He's doing well. We play the Fortnite. If you want to bother him, go look him up. I believe he's under Turkey Ninja. If you find him on Fortnite, it's under Turkey Ninja. Go follow him. J Turkey's what he is from here. Yep. All right. But yeah, go check this out. SETI apparently found UFOs. I think we did a little video on that not too long ago, to be honest with you. I think we did a video on that. Oh, yeah. One last thing that I wanted to talk about real quick about the UFO phenomenon. So according to Lou Elizondo, apparently there was a device that was removed by the Department of Veterans Affairs by a surgeon who claims that there was a high-ranking official who had some sort of encounter with a UFO, and they removed this device that had some sort of biological. It was like some sort of technology encapsulated in some sort of biological material, and he described this biological material as sort of synthetic material, so that the body wouldn't reject the implant of whatever it is that they had. And the surgeon had stated that when he tried to extract the item from the service member, that it began to run from it. It would evade to the capture. Crazy stuff. I mean, is crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I'm going to answer a few questions, and then it's probably going to be the end of the show, guys. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be a big day. Tomorrow's the last day for preseason football. My team looks bad this year. I'm so disappointed. But you know what? It's preseason. Last year in the preseason, my team looked like they were going to win the Super Bowl. And regular season came out and it was not very good. Angel D asks, why don't you let me play Fortnite? I don't care if you play Fortnite. You got to get a mic. 1, 2. Our squad is typically full, to be honest. We have 4. We can't even get Blue on. Even if we were to buy him a PlayStation, he still couldn't get on because our squad is full. We have 4 guys, just my homies that I grew up with. My buddy Hugo, Jonathan, and Jaime. Shout out to you guys. You guys are listening. What about the Pats? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, quarterback looked all right. We'll see how he looks at in the regular season. What? Right here. What ran the biomaterial? I have no idea what ran. All I know is that the so-called material ran from the surgeon when he tried to extract it. I'm not sure what that device was or any of those things, but it's crazy. It's a crazy situation. Maybe BK was that alien hunting. You know, I thought about that. Because remember, Ann Taylor's pissed off that they don't have that, the Red Coffee or the Red Star or something, coffee place right there on Pullman Road. You know, there's a bank on one side of it that has better cameras and a better angle of the highway than that coffee shop. And on the other side of that coffee shop, I think, is a store or gas station. Also has a clear, better footage of the street, right? So you have the same street. It's one street. On one side of one building is a security camera. On the other side of the same on the same block is another security camera. What you don't have is the building in the middle. And I said, maybe perhaps alien species kidnapped the real killer. And then when they abducted Brian Koberger, they replaced him and put the real killer in his car. He don't remember what happened. Time's missing. He's up in space. The real killer's out there. And then later on, the aliens clean his car and they give it back to Brian. I don't know. That's a funny one, Heather. All right. Let's see. Jason Truth UFOs. Hey, there's only one there's only one L there, Jason. Hey Daniel, do you like CIA team EAP or I mean, I think you meant the term UAP or UFO. You know, I think Lou Elizondo made had a good point when he said that they're not really flying, right? It's not really flying. There's no thrust and lift being created, right? That's not happening. So I think UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, I think probably sounds more accurate. I think there's another thing for another name for it now that's not even aerial, because I think it's it's all good, my man. I think it's I think it was gosh, I can't remember where I was going with that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Heaven is for real, and so are the entities on the other side. Everyone will die, no doubt about it. Don't let it be too late to discover the Bible is true. So it's Jesus. Everyone will become aware. Yeah, I'm a believer, which is why I read that. I am a believer. All right. All righty, guys. Well, that's going to do it for me tonight. I want to say thank you to everybody. Please hit that like and subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Do all those things. We'll be back with the members only this weekend. Probably delving back into the true crime, maybe. And then next week we'll probably go back one show in the true crime stuff. I do want to talk about that Shroud of Turin, because that interests me a lot. I really like it. So we'll be back next time, guys. Transdimensional, that's true. That's why it's not aerial no more or in the air, because they also go into the ground. Which last thing, he talked about things that were the size of huge tankers under the water moving at incredible speed. Read the book, guys. I'm going to read it, and we'll talk more about it. Until next time, y'all.